Well, it's been another busy week regarding incidences of collusion, deception, fraud and malfeasance on the part of certain authority figures. On Monday next, for example, in the criminal courts of justice, one of our members faces charges under legislation which Gardaí themselves are apparently not subject to, because, according to the Garda Ombudsman, when they commit these crimes, it is not considered an offence. But if you or I are found guilty, folks, it means up to 7 years in jail. Last week, when we informed the High Court Registrar in person that a solicitor on the big names subpoena list had refused to attend the High Court last week, she seemed curiously unconcerned, advising us to tell it to the judge. That's if and when we ever get this case before a judge, that is. The fact that any such hearing could not go ahead without this solicitor doesn't seem to have any bearing on the fact that he is being allowed by our so-called justice system to simply refuse to respect High Court subpoenas at will. That, apparently, is what happens when you are connected, or when your evidence might just embarrass some of those big names. We asked for an interview with the local chief superintendent to discuss the fact that Gardaí made a completely false report to the Child Protection Services at precisely the time when we were supposed to be at the High Court. But as usual, we have received no proper response other than that the matter has been referred to Garda headquarters for attention. Unfortunately, this letter is the 13th such identical letter we have received without any subsequent follow-up over a 3-year period. We have since learned that no one has been assigned to head up this department since the previous incumbent retired some 7 months ago. So again, it seems our letters are just disappearing down the proverbial black hole. Meanwhile, we asked for a copy of the report allegedly submitted by the Gardaí to the Child Protection Services. But, in direct contradiction of the data protection laws, both the Gardaí and the HSE have stated in writing that the alleged report is confidential and therefore we, the subjects of that report, cannot even see it. So, we have now asked the HSE and the Gardaí to investigate each other regarding this matter and to do so very thoroughly, with a view to taking action against the 2 Gardaí who, along with 2 other unidentified men dressed in black, harassed and intimidated our 2 girls who are only aged 12 and 14 for about 45 minutes, and who then made a false and vexatious report in order to try to cover their tracks. But as usual, the silence from the authorities, when we have the evidence and the upper hand, is deafening. Meanwhile, and you're really going to have trouble believing this one, folks, the very same judge whose decisions we were scheduled to appeal in the High Court last week has now reinserted him back into 2 affiliated case hearings coming up in Castlebar on Tuesday the 18th of February next. We have written to him pointing out some 14 conflicts of interest and how he is in direct breach of the Judicial Code of Conduct. Surprisingly, we have heard nothing back since. Anyway, we have since lodged formal complaints against these authority figures and will be naming them in our civil case against the state. It will be interesting to see what happens next. Thank you for listening.